What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Underground Crypto Deep Dive Show. Welcome in, everybody. It's going to be an interesting stream today. Okay. Something's going on here. All right, there we go. I'm not sure what was happening. Oh, forgot that top button. Not going to look so classy without the top button. All right, guys. How's everybody feeling? How's everybody doing? Interesting going on in the land of YouTube. I'll mention it shortly, but we got plenty of things that I need to talk about first, and that is these crypto bubbles, 1 through 100 here. If we toggle down, of course, 1 through 1,000, you'll see everything kind of negative today, but not huge. I mean, your biggest 0.96, right? So less than 1%. And these are overall averages per 100 category, right? Everybody knows that. Where is everybody? Oh, what happened? I can see people are here. I just don't have as many chats as I normally do. Thank you, Melissa, for all that you do, posting everything. Link to our free Discord in the chat. I did change our category on YouTube from entertainment to education, which I should have done a long time ago. Beat 22.5% to the upside, and I think this is the clear winner of the day. Looks like it went to about $4.51. Right now it's hanging out at $4.36, so obviously it would have been up more than this 23% when it was up here, because now it is not. Pretty simple, right? On the week it's up 276%, and on the month it's up almost 800%. Beat is beating up against the market. Sorry, I had to do it. Smash that like button for me if you're just rolling in. Welcome to the Underground Crypto Deep Dive Show. The XC is another one. Actually getting a little bit of a pump today while everything else is pulling down. It's only up 8% now, but it went up to $23.42. Right now it's $21.44. So there you go. That's about all the big green bubbles here. Big red bubbles, Bitcoin Cash down 10.9%. ENA or Athena, it is down 10%, right? You can see it just kind of drop off a cliff there. And Cyrene is down about 10%. Cyrene, not one of my favorite projects, but has a lot of volatility and is kind of always known to bounce back. And you know that it's always true until it's not. Look at this. Humanity down 88%. Went from 73 cents. Did this thing rug pull? To 7 cents. It's down 10x, right? Or am I tripping? Yeah, because 7 cents, 7 times 10 would give you 70 cents. So in the reverse order, hopefully my math is still working. Let's see. Benjamin Marl says channel fits entertainment. Better playing DeFi games after 5 minutes of TA and then copying Lifer's cat ears. You could get all out of here with that nonsense, Mr. Benjamin. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I think you should do a little bit. First of all, I shouldn't even give clown comments like that any attention, but this is not a TA channel. If you thought this was a TA channel, then I don't know what you've been watching, because I don't really do TA. I might pop on a chart and show off a couple of whatever I see in a chart, but I don't come here in front of you guys talking about, look at my TA. It's not a TA channel. I don't teach technical analysis, so you get all out of here with that. Also, what do you mean copying Lifer's cat ears? Do you think the Lifer invented cat ears pattern? Do you think that came from him? Because it didn't. And also 5 minutes of TA. Bro, we do an hour of what is trending, maybe a little bit of TA. That's kind of a new thing. We don't normally do that. I don't even do that in every stream. And then after an hour of going over new coins, what's trending, stuff like that, then we do the crypto IQ raising event. So I might play a game like an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes into the stream. Maybe at the end of the stream. What a clown. Yeah, you should just stop coming to the channel. Anyways, Humanity down 88.9%. Then we got Velvet. then it's a entertainment referral farming for short. What referral am I farming? Benjamin, I'm just going to ignore you pretty much from now on because cat ears isn't a pattern. Of course it is. It's definitely a pattern. Whatever. I'm just going to ignore you from now on, man, because obviously you turned hater somewhere along the way. And what you're saying, I see that narrative also being played out amongst a few other people. And I don't really get what the point of it is, but haters gonna hate, and that's what it is. Where's your YouTube channel? Go do your own YouTube channel. Since you're master of TA and you know what's a pattern and what's not a pattern, go do your own channel. And that's as much attention I'm gonna give any of that. So Velvet, 24.7%. I must be doing really well. Got some haters. 24.7% to the downside, or upside, sorry. Misspeaking. I'm looking at this giant red bubble for humanity. I actually meant to click on that. Check that out. Yeah, we went from like 73 cents down to 7 cents. People are just crazy with a referral. What referral am I giving out? Like, what referral am I farming? Please answer that question. Gwei, 31.7% to the upside. Gwei, I've said I like this project a lot. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be capable of doing that one. So we have ETH gas. It went as high as 17 cents. Yeah, cat ears represents a double top. Absolutely. And if you look at patterns, you will find that people look at a lot of the same price action, and there's multiple different patterns that fit it, that fit that price action, right? Ascending triangle might have a cup and handle in it. You know what I mean? Like, there's many, many things that fit a double bottom. Some people refer to it as a W. It's all, it's all very much reference. I know my real undergrounders don't rock with all that negativity. We come here for crypto, education, what's trending, and then, of course, we like the up positive vibe. We like to inspire each other. That's my kind of vibe. So you should just probably tune off. Gwei. It's something I've talked about quite a bit since it came out. Like, we've been all over this. Again, kind of the compounding nature of coming to the show. We found Gwei, I believe, before they ever even did a token generation event. Now, I don't put puts and calls out. I don't say, hey, you should buy this, because I'm not a financial advisor. But I did say that I very much liked what they were doing. And you could almost even compare some of it to, like, Monad and Mega ETH that we went over, except for Gwei seems to be getting a lot of positive response in the market, where Mega ETH definitely is not. All right, and then we drop down one more 100. And let's see, FTT, which is the FTX token. It's kind of funny. Is this going to be a very similar, like, Solana story, where, like, FTX somehow still remained relevant as an exchange because they got sold to somebody else, and they took the bare bones that they were working with and they make it into something big success story? I mean, sometimes the most unlikely thing somehow becomes the most likely thing. I think it was Elon Musk who said it most famously, but I think somebody else said it before him. Anyways, my point is FTX token bounced 30% today. And if we go to the weekly, actually, I want to go to, like, the yearly. Yeah, I don't think it's done anything for a long time. Not a token I follow a lot, right? Then we got Serve, OpenServe, which I keep wanting to buy. And I keep buying other coins. Plague Dog says, lurking and working. Welcome in, Plague Dogs, welcome in. And then we have Allura, which we talked about Allura a lot when it first came out as a token. Then it kind of just slipped to the background. If we look at the monthly, let's see. Well, that'd be the monthly. Let's go to the yearly here. Yeah, you can see it came out. It fell drastically. We looked at the project for what it was, chain abstraction, which very interesting is actually kind of the topic of the night, which is, user UX, usability, interface, stuff like that. And then it didn't do much, and then it finally got this big pump. So and it seems to be kind of holding it. I mean, obviously your bottom levels are down here at like 5 cents, and you're up here at 42 cents. with a high, it looks like, of 47 cents. Where did it come out here? So it actually made an all new time high, which from the doldrums of this price action is really surprising, and look how fast it did it. So that might be one to keep an eye on. Why it's getting so much attention, I'm not exactly sure. Then of course you got Bio Protocol up almost 10% today, 9.1%. Obviously it's been up 10% if it was at the top of this high here, which is about 3.5 cents. So Bio Protocol, one that we've talked about a lot. Again, I'm not trying to say I made calls for these, not what I'm talking about. This is crypto education. Some people apparently get it very confused here. 12.9% to the upside, this economy. And I don't really know a ton about this one. And let's move on. I feel like I spent more time on the crypto bubbles than I normally do. Probably just for the hateful comments took the time to talk about there. Camsta, what's up, Camsta? BTC taking me out. Sorry to hear that, man. I am definitely sorry to hear that. Let's roll down to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is 62,582. Now, did you guys think by today's date that we would be much lower? I mean, obviously, everybody knows what Bitcoin really did yesterday, had a really big pump. Obviously, I'm not live on Sunday, so we didn't talk about it or anything, but if that big pump didn't happen, like, I think people felt like we were going to roll over much harder. Now, dead cat bounce, bull trap, a lot of things going on social media, what they're calling it. Time will tell what it is. Everybody want to be quick to decide what it is. Time will tell. Unless you're in like a high leverage position right here, right now, you probably have a little bit of time to take a deep breath and just kind of wait and see what the market does here. Yeah, falling knife right through the heart. Oof. Sorry to hear that, Gamsta. And what's up if you're just coming in? Smash that like button. I appreciate you being here. We're just doing our price rundown. The stream has kind of just started. Bitcoin, $62,555. Ethereum, $1,665. Overall market cap of the entire market, $2.2 trillion. And it says that it's down 0.8%. BNB slipping under $600, $594 here, down 14% on the last 7 days. XRP $1.16, down 10%. Solana $65.64, down almost 20%. And we're not going to read the percentages on the 7-day. A lot of these things are in heavy red. Hyperliquid $62.41, coming back down to earth a little bit. I mean, what did Hyperliquid top out at? It was like 70 something recently. I know I saw it at like 74. So Dogecoin, 8.5 cents here. Zcash, $450. XLM, just slipping barely under 20 cents. Cardano, 16 cents. I know a lot of conversation on social media going on with Cardano as far as people being unhappy with the price action. It's nothing new, really. And a few other things, of course. He's made some remarks. Charles has made some remarks about Cardano and things that might be upcoming. Anybody catch any of that on social media? Canton Network is just slipping under 16 cents, but it's actually green on the 7-day, 3%. XMR, $311. Chainlink, $7.84. Toncoin, $1.68. Bitcoin Cash, $205. Memecore, $3.07. Lab, $11.67. Sorry, my head's in like 5 different directions here. I do apologize. Let me lock in. So Litecoin, $42. Sui, 73 cents. Avalanche, $6.62. And let's kind of leave it at that. Let's go down and see where Flare is at for the blues guy, the king of Flare here. 89, moving back up into some upward territory there. I like to see that, always in the top 100s. Flare Network. And the videos that I did on Flare Network with the blues guy actually got some good traction. I think we're going to probably bring some of that stuff back. Shout out to the blues guy. He'll be here shortly, I'm sure of it. So here is what's trending in cryptocurrency today. We have this XMAQ ENA. I don't know. Is it? I'm assuming this may be Spanish. I'm not going to pretend like I know Spanish, right? I'm in Florida. You'd think I'd know Spanish, but I don't. Let's see. chilling at like almost 4 cents. Not sure what that is. We will look into that. Humanity, Hyperliquid, Pudgy Penguin, Solana, Zcash, Bitcoin, WorldCoin, Sweet, Allura, Venice Token, VVV, Beat, Lab, XRP, and Ethereum. I do feel like they're not as, like, I don't know what you would call it, risky when it comes to the what is trending on CoinGecko. Like, CryptoRank really gives you, like, just things that are trending that may not even have tokens yet, right? All right. And honestly, Camsta, I got to talk to you, Camsta. I'll send you a private message later. It'll actually be me. Well, now that I said that. Damn. Yeah, we'll talk in the voice chat or something, because now that I said that, somebody's going to message you pretending to be me because I said I was going to message you, and you'll think it was me. Anyways, let's click on this real quick. So, DEUS. If you speak Spanish, feel free to enlighten me. I wish the Blues guy was here. I know he speaks Spanish. But what is it, right? It can have whatever name. At this point in crypto, honestly, I don't really care what the name of the project is too much. Of course, name can have some relevance. I want to know market cap. This has 19.3 million in it, a billion max supply, circulating supply 504.7, right? So like 50%, a little over 50% vested here. It's got a base Solana and PQ contract. Okay. That PQ contract is interesting. The PQ ecosystem is one of those ones, like, I don't know, did you see it coming? Did you know that that was going to be a relevant crypto ecosystem? Category is robotics. I didn't know what to expect. Robotics, all right. So decentralized access to humanoid robotics. Get early exposure to the world's leading robotic companies before they disrupt trillion-dollar industries. Okay, so this is definitely a play on get ahead of everything, be earlier than everybody on humanoid robotics and your exposure to the companies that are going to disrupt trillion-dollar industries. Now, first of all, you got to separate the things here. Do I believe that humanoid robotics can and probably at some point will disrupt trillion-dollar industries? Of course I do. Do I think whatever company this is going to have anything to do with it? I have no idea. That's the disconnection, in my opinion, right? And then when we're going through these websites and stuff, that's kind of the things that take a while to learn, because you can be like, oh, okay, these people are obviously very tapped in and they know what's going on. They might, or they might not, and they might just see an opportunity here to generate some buzz, right, and get people excited. So DAO portfolio highlights, I'm just running through the website here. Aptron IK, I feel like that's supposed to be read different. Is building Apollo, an AI-powered humanoid robot designed for real-world work, backed by $403 million. It's a bold bet on the future of labor. Okay, Dios means God. Appreciate that, Mr. Wolf. I appreciate you saying that. I got killed on BTC Fall under the 200 MA. Yeah, what did I do now? Camsta. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I haven't been, like I said, I haven't been trading perpetuals or anything like that, so I haven't really been looking at that. 1X technology, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Okay, so now I understand kind of what's going on. Interesting name, interesting ticker, but CryptoRank's going to have a lot more for us. So that's when it comes to the really outlandish, like, new coins, I like to come to CryptoRank because I know that they're going to have that for me. So Fear and Greed Index is at 10. That's low. I mean, when we were, yesterday was 8. Wow, I didn't even look at it yesterday. Surprisingly, I normally always do, even on a Sunday. But yesterday I was just really busy. My wife had a bunch of cabinets from IKEA I had to build, and that took all day, pretty much. Well, it took a long time. Anyways, because I had a lot of them. Extreme Fear, 10. Let's move along. Let's go to the coins that are trending coins, right? All right, Let's make it the top 20. I was just reading the chat there for a second. So, hey, Mr. Wolf. Thanks for being here. First digital USD, of course, a stable coin, been around 2.9 years. That's really not worth going over. At this point, stable coins are kind of a dime a dozen. And do me a favor, guys, if you like this stream, not like if you literally hit the like button, but I mean, like if you enjoy this stream, put a 111 in the chat so I can see some names here and see who's all with me here. Where are my undergrounders at? So we have this XFE. I'm not exactly sure how I'm supposed to say that, but it doesn't really matter. At this point, like, I look at narratives and tokenomics and stuff like that. I'm not getting lost on the names unless it's just really good branding. It's an RWA ecosystem with tokenization platform, staking vault, and investment fund. So focused on Asia. There you go. There's a taker. Has anybody seen what the heck is going on now? I obviously am not in the Korean market, so I don't actually know what the heck is going on in Korea. But apparently they're having really bad days in their stock market, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. I have a brief idea, but I don't know what's true. When I say I don't know what it is, I don't know what's true from what's just being said in broadcast because I'm not tapped in to the Korean market. Melissa, I got one. Mr. Wolf says, I'm short on B. It's looking strong for the short. Okay. Well, we'll definitely know in time if that's going to work out. So a staking vault for yield generation. That's basically what this is. They've raised $20 million. And it's going to be around RWA ecosystem, right? Tokenization platform, staking vault, and investment fund. So it's one to watch out for, but I mean, I'm not excited about it. They don't even have a token yet. Beat, of course, up 20%. We've gone over that. Edge Market. Edge Markets is a payment infrastructure that connects traditional banking, online gaming, and prediction markets under one system. Nice. So Edge Markets fills a critical gap in financial infrastructure by connecting the fragmented worlds of traditional banking. A narrative you hear a lot, right? Online gaming and prediction markets under one system. And they've raised $46 million, right? So definitely a decent amount of money. They should be able to pay developers. They should be able to get things rocking with that kind of money, you would hope. Meteora, obviously a decentralized exchange on Solana. OpenServe, we've talked about OpenServe. That's a reliable J pick right there. It says, wow, I'm a clown, bro. Wow, you were really late. Are you like really behind? Did you pause it and walk away? Nah, I'm just saying you clown for coming at me and making a bunch of accusations about me like copying the lifer, playing, you know, doing TA for 5 minutes and then doing nothing but playing DeFi games. Yeah, and then what was the comment about like just farming affiliate link? Bro, you're gonna say all that and then be like, why would you say anything back to me? Yeah, because you're acting like a clown on my stream. Oh, I'm weeks farming. Bro, so sad, man. People just don't have any idea what they're talking about. You run my Discord server. Right. Everybody, just so you know, this man, he runs my Discord server, he says. Properly, rather than pushing cat and ears. When did I push a cat and ears with a cup and handle as real patterns? When did I push that? You're just making stuff up. See, you think you have a good point here. Everybody else who's a part of this Discord, a part of the stream, who comes all the time, they know I'm not pushing weeks. When was the last time I even mentioned weeks? Never. Like, a long time ago. And it's like, yeah, I have a link to weeks. It's a regular affiliate link that any one of you guys could go to Weeks and make an account and click in the settings and get your link. It's not a special thing. Bro, it's just sad to see how people get just lost in their hatred for stuff because they think that they're so smart. Yeah, Weeks farm just like the lifer, one of the highest fees. I literally was talking about how Weeks had high fees. Bro, Yeah, I know who you are. I know you're clams. We give you proper advice, and then you post a YouTube short reading it. Clams, you're not trying to say that I made a YouTube short just reading what you said, because that's very far from the truth. And you're usually in Bankroll TA tab. I'm usually pop in and out of there. I'll look at a few things. I'm mostly looking for Bankroll and what he's talking about. I don't really stick around and read all of that stuff all day, every day. So I don't know, man. I think you think you're doing a lot more for me than you actually are. And yeah, you come attack me and you're gonna act like you run my Discord. You're helping me, but you come attack me on my stream, bro. It's silly, bro. All right. Anyways, that's enough of that. Velvet Capital. Laura, we've talked about. Movement, AIOZ Network, Cineflix, we've talked about. It's like a media play. I never see any of these really work out well. Raised $75 million, which is really interesting. Obviously, with these type of plays that you see come and go and you never see anybody nail it, obviously somebody eventually is going to nail this narrative, right? Cineflix is an entertainment platform designed to bring together content, community, and participation in a single digital economy. Yeah, but Clams, that's great. I'm so glad that you put highly profitable trades in our Discord. I didn't ask you to do that. I never asked you to do that. This is not a trading centered channel. Like, this is not about, hey, come look at us, like we're gonna make you money trading in the market. That's not what this is. This is an underground crypto IQ, where we focus on topics, CK proofs, new chains, raising your crypto IQ. Where have you been, man? Where have you been? Bro, it's just tiring. Me and Green Fingers and Banks are literal millionaires from trading. I don't think Bankroll is a literal millionaire from trading, but maybe he is. Yeah, I will stay blessed, man. Crazy. Anyways, people come in and just like, you wanted to shill your Discord and things in my Discord for your calls that you want paid calls for. I didn't ask you to do that. Mobius. Mobius is a DeFi protocol with a single margin tier and tracks users' positions across multiple venues. So it's like gonna track multiple different things. Down here they even talk about Hyperliquid and Aster, etc. And so like this is for DeFi. This is not like you have multiple positions on centralized exchanges and it's gonna put it all together for you. It's not like that. This is for DeFi protocols specifically. It's a cool idea. I really like it. Like a dashboard where you could see and maybe even implement trades all together in one thing. It's a cool idea. How much it'll take off, how much people really want to use that product, I don't exactly know. Foundation devices. And for the record, Clams definitely does have some good calls. I'm not trying to say he doesn't have some good calls. Yeah, raising your crypto IQ means reading a script from ChatGPT, the most biased, supporting. See, but you see how negative you are? Yes, I use ChatGPT to order my ideas and my thoughts because I set up a Siri for the entire week. It's called prompting. You prompt to ChatGPT. You tell it what you want it to do, and you could do very little or you could do a lot. That's up to you. And I don't have any shame. I don't hide it from anybody. You think I come on here and I just read stuff to you like it's all everything that I ever thought of? And I didn't use any ChatGPT. No, we read it directly from ChatGPT. Transparent. I'm letting you guys know. If you want to go read ChatGPT by yourself and raise your crypto IQ by yourself, go for it. This is to make it more fun. This is to do it as a community. That's the value. Ain't nobody hiding anything. Foundation devices, right? And this doesn't have any token yet, just like Mobius has no token yet. Yeah, this is taking up too much. We're just going to kind of move on. Banks is a million. Are we talking about Bankroll? Talk about Bankroll. And cool, if he's a millionaire, that's great. I mean, I never said that he wasn't a millionaire. We've been trying to coach y'all. That's great. You don't have to get salty every time, I don't know, people aren't necessarily looking for a trade. It's just like you came in there, you guys maybe making good calls, talking some good stuff. That's great. But then to turn around and act like I owe you something monumental for doing something I never asked you to do is kind of crazy, in my opinion. I can respect you, but when you come at me crazy, then I'm going to respect you less. You're not going to get anything that way. Foundation offers wallet. I know, I just keep bouncing back and forth. Then why are you here? I do I'm not even going to entertain this nonsense. Like, I do plenty of my own research, bro. Welcome to 2026, where ChatGPT exists and people use it. Foundation offers wallet for Bitcoin custody. Oh, and thank you, Clam, for driving up the chat in this live stream. It's really helpful. I appreciate you. All right, Bitcoin custody with 2FA, security keys, encrypted storage, and seed management. Let's see, they've raised about $16 million here. Has a really interesting name. Hardware security device. See, that's what I thought. I'm like, do they have an actual physical device? Foundation offers Passport Prime, a hardware security device that combines Bitcoin wallet, offline 2FA code storage, and this FIDO2 security keys, 50 gigabyte encrypted file storage, seed vault in one unit. It features key operating system, Rust-based, microkernel operating system. That's very interesting. Open source hardware, software, NFC, key card backups, tamper protection, and integrates with third-party wallets via Bluetooth, NFC, and USB. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Benjamin, it's amazing. I'm happy for Bankroll. I've talked to Bankroll many times. I like Bankroll a lot. So I don't know where you're trying to go with this. Great, you guys are millionaires. Amazing. Happy for you guys. Let's see. But I don't know why that makes me salty. I'm not spinning anything. You're like, we're in there giving everybody, okay, that's cool. What does that have to do with you coming in and attacking me on the live stream in the chat? Chris Goss says, anyone talking ish on YouTube live is broke. Even if you have money, you are broke. Yeah, you can have a lot of money and be pretty broke in mentality and mind state. Just because you have $1 million from some trading doesn't mean anybody would want to hang out with you or be in the same room as you. Maybe I would, but most likely I probably wouldn't if you think it's cool to just attack people on their YouTube channel when you've been a part of the community and nobody did anything to you. You posted earlier in the Discord some advice about things you liked about the channel. I said I appreciate your comment. Nobody was attacking you, bro. You just came on here sideways. I don't know. And y'all were talking in the Discord sideways. And I don't really understand what the point is. Like, I don't understand what you're trying to get out of that. It just seems pointless to me. Anyways, the few that were here left to mention, I'm so used to everything having, like, no token, right? These have some tokens. Economy. It's been around for 7.1 years, so I wouldn't really get your hopes up. It did kind of pump, but if you go to like a monthly chart here, you can see like you're down kind of in the doldrums. It says it's been around 7 years, but they only have it back to like August of 2021. I wonder if that's like when Crypto Rank came out. I'm not sure when Crypto Rank started. Bro, but you've decided that I need to work on TA skills. I don't run a TA channel. Like, I don't know why you think that I need to work on all of these TA skills when that's not what I do. Magical cat ear patterns. Back to the same nonsense. Bro, I didn't try to teach nobody TA. It's too funny, man. Again, I really appreciate you running this chat up. You're doing me a huge favor. So I appreciate that. Anyways, I'm not going to go over economy here because it's 7.1 years old and it's just kind of getting a tiny balance. It doesn't seem like something we really should be going over. Did these just change on me? Oh, there's economy. It just like mixed up the order here. Here's an interesting one. Only been out 0.9 years. AI Exovia. I feel like I remember when this thing came out. Yeah, AIX. It's a good ticker. Doesn't mean it's going to perform well. 44 million. Been as high as 45 million. It's a DeFi or Def AI. I guess you see this all the time where they kind of just throw the AI at the end of DeFi, right? It's a good play. It's good marketing. On Solana with deflationary burns native tokens. Then, of course, Sahara AI, been out for about a year. We've talked about this a lot. It's actually down. Tron Banks, really just scanning for new stuff. This foundational device. Now I got to go back to the top because they mixed everything up here. Movement. We talked about movement just literally the other day when it came to Sui. Remember, it was kind of like talked about how Sui is a move-based protocol. And then movement as like a foundation is kind of where Facebook branched out of with all of its stuff in the realm of its crypto technology. The language, the move language was very much born there. Like Libra was the token. I think Congress shut them down when it came to that. All right. I don't know why it mixed it all up. Kava was one that we've touched on before, but it's not a new coin. I really like Gwei though. I think Gwei could be relevant. It's still new. It's kind of got that new effect. Let's move right along here. Let's go get our top gainers, top losers. Gonna need to refresh it though. Velvet up 24%, DXY up 10%, ZigChain 8.5%, Basic Attention Token, Compound, XDC Network, Banana for Scale. Those are your top gainers. Probably could make that out after the crypto bubbles. Top losers, definitely Humanity, down 88%. Bitcoin Cash down 11%. Athena down 10%. Siren down 10%. A lot of these down 10%. Obviously, I'm rounding slightly here. Monad down 10%. Home down. Layer. So that's kind of what's going on there. Would be interesting. Let's run to our analytics on the dashboard here over at Blockworks, and let's take a look at the ETFs. Just see what the inflow outflow was today. I think it's usually a day behind, right? It's like not responding. What's going on? There we go. Looks like overall positive 39.4 million. Of course, that's in different things. If you wanted to just see like Bitcoin or just Bitcoin and Ethereum, you could do that for sure. Be positive 37.7 million here, and that is actually for the 5th. Are we not getting? All right, I'm messing it up. Let's reload it. Sorry, it's taking a minute to reload. I don't know what that's all about. So, crypto ETFs, total flow asset. Let's see, what day is this? This website's got a lot going on. It can be a little difficult sometimes. So, it only has information as of June 5th. We can't go any smaller than daily. So I guess we'll just have to be a couple days behind on these ETF outflows, inflows. You can see the total number. You can see individually. You can toggle what you want to toggle here. You can exclude BTC, or you can make it basically only BTC. Maybe only ETH. Maybe you care about XRP. Maybe it's just really interesting, all the different things that you can do here. Learning more and more about this. Let's see. Yeah, XRP had 4.5 million. I don't know. I like data and analytics. I could spend a lot of time on that. I'm not going to go too much farther than that necessarily. But you know what it is. It's time to raise your crypto IQ. And you know, people can do a lot of things. And as you can see in the comments, some people are just wild. You know what I mean? So for anybody who's new to the show or didn't know, ChatGPT is really good at aggregating information, putting it together, presenting information. So I do tend to use it on the channel to raise your crypto IQ, so that if I do research on something and I want to bring it to you, I like to present it in a way that doesn't come across random or scattered or just like I talk. Yeah, Reliable J put open serve on our radar. I keep meaning to get into it. I got a couple of coins I keep meaning to get into. I bought a couple other things and then I never actually got to get into that. What is going on? Did I lose you guys? Some kind of internet problem. There we go. All right. So, quote of the day: success is nothing more than a few disciplines practiced daily, right? And then it does this segment. Sometimes it just changes the segment. I don't know why it builds this, but it can be interesting, some of the things that it says. It says, you may not know this, but account abstraction can let wallets have more like programmable apps instead of simple key controlled account. And by all means, like if you want to do research on ChatGPT yourself and sit in a cold room without a community and read and raise your crypto IQ, I think that's really smart. That's what I used to do a lot of the time just to learn stuff. That means wallets can support features like gas sponsorship, batch transaction, passkey, multi-owner setup, recovery logic. Coinbase's developer Docs describes smart accounts as programmable wallets that can batch multiple calls into a single user operation and support gas sponsorships through paymasters. Coinbase Smart Wallet Repository also describes support for keys, ownerships, and multiple owners. I don't know why it gave me current relevant news. It's very interesting. I have a whole separate tab for news, for aggregating all the news together. I guess in this world, like, you rather like hate ChatGPT and you think it's useless, and it's like the devil, or you realize that ChatGPT just aggregates information. I just think it's interesting because nobody gets mad at somebody because they use Google. Like if you use Google to look something up or to find a website or something like that, nobody gets mad at you about it. But you put Google on steroids and give it an algorithm and all of a sudden, so terrible. Kind of funny. Yep, got in at 0.25 cents. They have really good team. Yeah, Reliable J is great at finding a lot of these coins and kind of having to. He's also been in crypto for a really long time. I don't know where he's at. I'm used to seeing him in the chat. All right, so some news here. Bitcoin rebounds above 63K, but ETF outflows are still a warning sign. I really wanted to see those ETF outflows in real time. I got to mess with Blockworks a little bit more and see how that is. See if I can get a little more current data there. Maybe they want you to kind of pay for play kind of thing. Maybe that's what they want. CoinDesk says Bitcoin's recovery is still not secure. This is obviously coming from CoinDesk. June 8th, Bitcoin is back above 63,000, but the ETF action from last week is still a serious concern. Absolutely. So it recorded 1.7 billion in net outflows last week. So outflows still strong. SpaceX and Anthropic IPOs may keep pulling liquidity away from crypto. This is something we've talked about before. We were pretty sure that this was going to happen. I mean, look at what happened with the Trump coin. It really just sucked a ton of liquidity into it, and then it seemed like somebody dumped it on a lot of people and just kind of walked off maybe with a lot of the liquidity. Was it actually Trump and his team and people? Was it other people who just got involved? I don't have no idea. That would be a good one for like CoffeeZilla, right? And maybe he's made an episode about that. I don't currently watch him very often. That's another big narrative, of course, this IPO popping up, and we'll kind of bounce back and forth here. There we go. ChatGPT just like trying to add a whole bunch of different segments to the show I never asked for. So I like the story angle. Tonight, what I really wanted to talk about was like user, what they call UX. But I feel like most people are like, user UX, like what the heck is that? That's like the interface, the dashboard, the thing that you actually deal with. So when we say abstraction means to like to take the complexity away from whatever the problem is. In crypto, it could be wallet keys, right? It could be transactions. It could be gas, having to have gas to send transactions. And with that comes having to have the right coin in your wallet on the right network in order to use the gas. So a good example of maybe wallet abstraction, using the word abstraction here, would be if I could pay the gas fee and multiple different types of assets, and the wallet itself would figure it out and convert whatever it needed to for the fee. Hopefully it would prompt me and ask me and make sure I wanted to use whatever it was. But you get my point. The whole point of abstraction is to get rid of the complexities, and that's what we really need in crypto. We need to get rid of the complexity for the new users coming in, because honestly, they just want it to feel like they're using an application. They don't want to have to know a lot about crypto and have large crypto IQs just to do something simple like set up a wallet, get into an ecosystem, bridge an asset. They want it to all work pretty seamlessly. And that is the topic that we're going to be going over today. So for years, crypto has had a strange assumption. It assumes that users should learn how the infrastructure works before they can comfortably use the applications. You want to use DeFi, learn wallets, you go to a mint an NFT, right? Learn gas. You want to play crypto games? You're going to have to set up a wallet and move funds. Understand networks, approvals, bridges, and signings. For crypto natives, this feels normal. For us who's been around for a long time, this doesn't really seem like a big deal, right? But for mainstream users, it is too much. Most people do not want to become their own infrastructure manager. They do not want to think about private keys every day, and they don't want to hold the right gas tokens just to interact with an app. And these things turn people off to crypto. If you mess it up, you can certainly lose money if you send things to the wrong network and things like that, and that could really turn people. Think about this. You get into crypto, you set up a wallet, you put $100 in it, you send it to the wrong place because you don't know anything about crypto or Web3, blockchain technology said a little bit more clearer, and then you lose your $100. What is your impression? What is your impression of blockchain technology and crypto? It's, I lost my money and I don't like it. It's scary. I don't know what's going on. The anxiety that I'm gonna lose my money all the time, that's a real problem. So they don't want to hold the right gas token just to interact with an app. They don't want to approve 5-step transactions to complete one simple action. I know that, for example, in the centralized exchange weeks, but Mexi and other ones are very much like that. They go as far as there's 5 different codes, and this is a centralized exchange, so it's a little bit different, but it's still a user experience. There's 5 different codes that you have to put in just for one transaction to be put in for approval. Now, it's great security, so I don't get upset with it because I know that's 5 codes somebody else would have to move my money out of the exchange, so that's good. But to the average person, they might think, their first thought's probably not what great security. Their first thought is probably like, this is tedious and hard. What if I wanted to send 10 transactions? Would I have to do this all the time? And then they would just recede away from using it because of the complexity, right? They do not want to see a wallet pop up full of data they don't understand. That's a big one too. And they definitely do not want one mistake to permanently cost them access to their money. That is a UX problem. So here what we're talking about is UX. Just really want to clearly define what that means, because when you see this language, they're not always going to explain what it means to you. All right, so crypto asks users to carry too much cognitive load. Basically, they're asking the people to know too much and be capable of too much, right? Account abstraction is one of the most important attempts to solve that. The idea is simple on the surface. make blockchain accounts more programmable. Instead of every wallet behaving like a basic account controlled by one private key, smart accounts can contain custom logic. That means wallets can start acting more like an application. And that's basically what we're getting at here. And you're seeing it, like look at Jupiter, look at Soulflare, look at other wallets around. There's several wallets that I like, and they do kind of start to act a little bit more like a full-on app than just a wallet, right, with basic transaction. They can sponsor gas, they can batch multiple transactions, they can use passkeys, they can support recovery options, which is really nice. They can create spending limits, they can support different signing rules, and they can make onboarding much easier. That changes the whole experience for a new user in crypto, right? Because if crypto apps can hide more of the complexity, user can focus on the app instead of the chain, which is great. And the bigger point of this series here is the next major crypto upgrade may not be the thing users notice, it's the things that they stop noticing. And this is the whole reason why I prompted this as our series for today and the week. There's other things going on here. You'll see what I mean. We're building, we're going somewhere here. But it's because we're always looking for like this next big breakthrough idea in crypto. But what's really, and we're hoping that that's going to, launch cryptocurrency into the forefront of the average person's mind. But what's really going to do it is actually what they're not noticing anymore, what they're not having to deal with. Like maybe somebody remembers trying to use crypto in 2016 or 2017, and they thought to themselves, what the heck is going on? This is complicated. This is hard. And then they never really tried to use it again. So now say they come back, I don't know, in 2030, and they try to use it and they have a wallet, feels like an app right on their phone. Everything is smooth and easy to use. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that crypto was like this now. I like this. And they totally change their opinion of cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, whatever you want to call it, And that is kind of what we need. And then they stay and they care. Maybe they tell somebody about the app. Maybe they tell somebody they had a horrible experience a long time ago trying to use crypto stuff, and now it's easy. You should try it. That onboards tons of new people. And it's the things, again, that they stop noticing. All the things they don't have to deal with anymore. What's up, Blues Guy? How are you doing? It's been a very eventful show. Thanks for coming in. I knew you'd be here at some point. Greetings and gratitude as always. Good to hear, see you. Yeah. Been busy like a bee. I feel you, man. But hey, we could definitely use your positivity today because there's been a good amount of negativity in the chat. Love my undergrounders though. It only came from one person, to be fair. So let's continue to raise that crypto IQ. And I keep meaning to put this whole section in the beginning of the stream, and then I don't. So, would everybody out there feel better if I just, pivoted to another screen and I just kind of went over these details off the top of my head even, and maybe less organized and less metaphors, less painting a good picture, and less detail, of course, because I'm not going to remember every little teeny tiny thing until like 10 minutes later in the stream. Like, oh yeah, by the way, let me tell you about, what UX also can do, right? And it'd be very scatterbrained. Or should I put it together in a nice presentation like this so that I can read it to you guys and it really deliver that IQ raising event that I want? I don't know. I just want to know what other people's opinions are. See, I like people's opinions. A lot of people get scared of this stuff. They try to hide the fact that they have ChatGPT. For what? So that you can try to look like you're a crypto genius who knows every little detail about every little topic inside of cryptocurrency every single day. Come on, guys. And I know most of you guys don't feel that way, but I'm just curious. Anybody else feel that way? I'd love to know. So crypto UX, and we just covered what UX is. Problem is an adoption ceiling, right? So without these tweaks, without these fixes, without these integrations into the UX or the user ability, right, of crypto, whether it's a wallet, an application, maybe it's a DeFi protocol that does multiple things, has a wallet baked in. You see where I'm going here. Makes it feel like a big app altogether. Well, if that doesn't run smoothly, then how are people really going to get on board with using it on a day-to-day basis like a lot of the narratives that we hear in crypto, like self-custodying your money, unbanking, stuff like that. So crypto people often talk about UX like it's just a design issue, but it's a bigger problem than that. And this is kind of what I wanted to get into when I was prompting this, because it's not just the fact that like the layout, you get on an app or a website or something, there's a layout, right? The way that they put it, it's not just like the layout is just not well thought out. That's not just the problem here, right? Bad UX creates a ceiling on adoption. If an app requires too many steps or too much risk or too much technical knowledge, normal users leave before they ever actually experience the value, right? The value is when you know how to use the stuff and you're able to move around in an ecosystem, maybe generate some yield that's much higher in the ecosystem than you would get in the TradFi system at your bank, 0.01. And you don't get to experience that value because you're not really able to move around in it. It's kind of intimidating. This is why mainstream adoption has been slower than people expected. And it should be no surprise. When we really present it like this, it really shouldn't be a big surprise that it's not highly adopted, right? It is not only because people don't understand crypto, right? It's because crypto often demands too much from the user. A normal app tries to remove friction. Now, if you're somebody who's moved around in Web3 a lot, I do wonder what you would say about kind of your first experiences with maybe, like, I remember one of my core memories in crypto with Web3 specifically, because we say crypto, it's a broad term, but specifically Web3, right? And blockchain technology was just trying to get some money onto Moblock's liquidity pool for some staking, right? And I had to watch like a video on it. I had to watch the video like 3 different times. It was really hard to understand. Now that I get it, it's like, oh, it is simple. But back then I just didn't understand. And then the whole like having 50-50 for a liquidity pool, I didn't understand why it couldn't just do that for me. Why did I have to actually split it up myself, calculate what 50% of what, why did I have to do all of that? If you've never done any of that stuff, then you probably still don't understand what I'm talking about. But if you've ever used it, which is pretty basic stuff in crypto at this point, you probably have. That was experience, and that was years ago, and it was a little stressful because I had to really sit there and apply focus to figure it out. A normal app tries to remove friction. Crypto apps often introduce friction, right? And every extra step loses people. So every extra step people have to do, you're going to lose some people along the way. It's kind of like if there was an obstacle course, right? And only so many people make it to the end, because in every obstacle, you're losing some people. And every extra step, loses people. That's why account abstraction matters, and that's the point I'm really trying to drive home. A couple of things here. One, I want you to know what abstraction means. It's one of those things like interoperability, right? It's a word you're going to see on websites, you're going to see it in literature, maybe you're going to see it in some news articles or something like that, and I just want you to know what it means. UX and abstraction, those are the 2 ones I want to focus on right now, right? And that's why account abstraction matters. It's not just a wallet upgrade. It's one of the biggest attempts to remove the friction that keeps normal users out. So traditional wallets are powerful, but too primitive for mainstream. And I think that's how a lot of people feel. However you do your research is fine, as long as you feel you have learned the information you were looking for, it's fine at Underground. Well, I appreciate your opinion. Yeah, and I mean, if I read a book, you know what I mean, and then I sat here and I wrote the things that I learned from the book down, and then I read them to you so that my ideas, were put together well, does that make me extremely smarter than everybody else who went to ChatGPT and told it, what it wanted, and then got what it had and redefined it several times to really tweak it and get exactly what they wanted? It's not any different. Traditional wallets are powerful, but too primitive for mainstream users. And might I add, I actually think that ChatGPT does a better job. You'd have to read a lot of books and put a lot of information together. You'd spend, if I did this, like just without using ChatGPT, and I just Googled things and went to different websites and read little articles and stuff, I'd spend all freaking day from the moment I got up to the moment the stream started. And would it really be all that better? Probably have less information in it. Traditional wallets are more powerful, but too primitive for mainstream users. The traditional wallet model gives users control. That is the good side. But it also gives users a brutal amount of responsibility. Lose that seed phrase, right? You might just lose access. Sign the wrong transaction, you may lose funds, right? Like a wallet drain. Need gas? You better already have the native token. Want account recovery? Usually, there's no normal path to recovery, right? You either have that seed phrase or you don't. If you've been using Web3 for a while, you probably lost a wallet at some point that you realized that you couldn't get into. Matter of fact, when we were doing a lot of the stuff over on the Starknet ecosystem, somehow I wrote, and I didn't have anything in the wallet, I didn't really lose anything, right? Somehow I kind of lost the seed phrase for it. And I didn't, hold on, let me back up. I must have miswrote something in the seed phrase, which is weird because one, it like logged me out of the extension, and then I couldn't log in, and so I was like, okay, I'll just use the seed phrase recovery. Now, when I write down a seed phrase, I do it meticulously because I've had to write so many different seed phrases down. So I don't know if I messed it up or if it was just a mess up on the app, on the extension itself. It was a Starknet wallet. Some of you guys remember we were playing some games and doing some different things. It was a fun learning experience when it came to Starknet. Honestly, it was a lot of fun, right? So you want account recovery. You normally don't have any normal paths like you would with an app or somebody you can email. This is very different from the rest of the internet. So most users coming in are not gonna really understand that it's like actually non-negotiable. Like you have your seed phrase or you don't. They're gonna be talking about, who do I email? Where's the support team? They're gonna be very confused. So most users are used to passwords, biometrics even, which is still relatively newer, recovery emails, app level controls, spending limits, customer support, smooth onboarding, right? Crypto wallets historically offer very little forgiveness. Now, one of the things that I kind of want to say about customer support and smooth onboarding and stuff, this is all centralized companies that they're used to dealing with. You can reset a password when you have customer support and you have somebody who you can email and all of these things, and you made an account with them, so you have a recovery email. You get what I'm saying? What is the difference between that and the world of crypto and blockchain technology? It's decentralized exchange, right? When you start thinking about what the ethos of crypto is and what they were trying to do from the beginning is to decentralize everything. Well, if you decentralize everything, then there's not a customer support, right? And you never made a password, you just have a wallet that you connect with, so you don't have a recovery email. You get what I'm trying to say here? Is that it's the kind of a product of moving from centralized to decentralized. And you see why some people really cling to centralization and cling to maybe hybrids between decentralization and centralization. Anyways, crypto wallets historically offer very little forgiveness. Ain't that the truth? And that may work for hardcore crypto users, exactly. You get used to it, you know what the stakes are, and you move accordingly. It does not work well for mainstream adoption. Smart wallets are an attempt to keep the power of crypto while adding better user experience. Account abstraction makes wallets programmable, and I'm going to take a pause real quick, right? Because I do feel like that's some pretty heavy IQ raising stuff here. How dare I won't play any DeFi games. Apparently that makes me a bad person. I'm gonna be getting a good laugh out of that stuff for such a long time. It's so funny. Are you afraid to buy the lows? Then you'll never be able to ride the highs. What price did you buy BTC recently if you have the guts? That's a good question. Anybody even buying BTC spot to hold long term? Or is everybody trying to catch some crazy, some crazy perpetuals trade, to the upside, turn a tiny bit of money into a crazy amount of money. High leverage stuff. Sometimes the better buys are literally just buying and holding spot bags long term. And let's hop back over to some news here. So, Strategy, after their controversial sale last week, right, they ended up turning around and buying 1,550 if you want to be real specific, Bitcoin. So after everybody was really kind of nervous about Strategy, Michael Saylor's company, selling 32 Bitcoin, they turned around and bought 1,550 for about $101 million. So, I mean, I think the question here is, were they planning on buying those before they sold 32 and caught a bunch of whiplash? Or did they sell 32 Bitcoin and then they caught a bunch of whiplash for it, and then all of a sudden they turned around and they were like, oh, let's just buy a bunch. That'll restore all of the confidence that people had in us, right? The important part is that Strategy is trying to restore confidence. I don't know, were they already scheduled? $101 million is a big deal. They might have already had that deal, right, accounted for in their accounting and their sale, and the people who run the company. So the sale raised doubts, but today purchase sends the message that Strategy will still commit. So at the end of the day, they bought more BTC and they restored confidence. I think that's good. Turn the music down a little bit. Absolutely. Is that good enough? You want more? So I turned it down literally a little bit. I didn't turn it down a lot. Strategy is also emphasizing cash reserves now. Decrypt reports that Strategy grew its cash position because if they sold those 32 Bitcoin, maybe they were just trying to have some cash on hand, and they probably bought those Bitcoin a long time ago, so it's probably a large profit. Now, I'm just assuming. I don't know all the details here. Yes, it's good now. Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. Thank you for asking. You ask and I will deliver. So after using much of its previous cash supply, it repurchased debt. The company's last filing emphasized cash reserves as much as the Bitcoin purchase because investors are watching whether Strategy can manage dividend payments and debt obligations without being forced to sell more Bitcoin. A Bitcoin bottom indicator is getting attention here. So you have the Bitcoin's MVRV Z-score, which is not something I'm super familiar with here, is nearing historical bear market bottom zone. The metric compares Bitcoin's market value to its realized value. The past cycle lows in 2014, 2018, 2022 happen when the score moves into the near green accumulation zone. So it sounds like something that's maybe very similar to our fear and greed index, but it's just a different indicator, right? Anybody use this MVRV Z score? Surprised I've never really heard of it. But the world is big and it's vast, so there's probably many different metrics and stuff that people like to use. This does not mean the bottom is automatically in. Yeah, good disclaimer, because we don't ever know until retrospective after the bottom is in and the bull market has really kicked off. CoinDesk also noted that long-term holders and short-term holders' profitable metrics have not fully converged yet, which means more downside could still happen before typical cycle bottom is confirmed. No, never heard of it. Yeah, okay, so I'm not the only one who's never heard of it, right? Bitcoin is hovering near 200-week moving averages, and I think it will be able to see that. Matter of fact, this is a good point to maybe move over to TradingView. And, oh my goodness, let me put a huge disclaimer on this. This is not a TA channel, and I in no way, shape, or form am trying to sit here and teach you technical analysis. I thought I was really clear about that, from the get-go. I know everybody really loves the charts. People just love seeing the charts. It's a fact. And so here we are. Here's a chart for Bitcoin. I'm not trying to teach you technical analysis. Just kind of wanted to see what the heck was going on here. We're very far. This is perpetuals, by the way, from the 200-day moving average on the 4-hour. It may look a little different than your spot chart, but it's not going to be drastically night and day different. But on an exchange, liquidity and things can be a little different. So I just want to point that out. This is a perpetual contract for weeks. It says it right here at the top. Anybody who's confused about it. Now let's roll to the daily. And I mean, you kind of see what you're up against here, right? You had this double bottom that got everybody really excited. We got this big pump that made people believe. We got to this region here. Looks like we topped at about 82,982. I told you that I found an interesting video that Crypto Jeb put out. Gave him full 1,000% credit for him talking about the $83,500 to $84,000 level and slightly under it being a high level of resistance, and that there was a very good chance we were going to get rejected here, which if you look at something like an Elliott wave theory, which by the way is not something I study and I'm super into, you kind of have a 1, 2, sometimes there's a lag when I'm drawing here, right? You have like a 1, 2, and then I don't know, there's a third one. Usually it's 3 waves, I believe. Again, not something I pay a lot of attention to, but I thought it was interesting, and that this could just be one of those waves before it turns over and dumps, and the bear market could still be here. Now, I'm not taking credit for anything. Like I told you that we were going to continue the bear market because I said I have no idea what's going to happen. This is BTC. And my mentor taught me well that all I know is the fact of my own ignorance. But anyways, we had this nice pump up. It did get rejected, clear as day on the chart. I don't know if anybody could argue. Anybody want to argue? Does anybody want to argue that we didn't get rejected from that 82,000, to 80, somewhere between 82 and 83,000 region? Anybody want to argue that we didn't get rejected there? Come on, I know somebody wants to. Anyways, we got rejected and we came back down. You see this wick, and that was, roughly 59,500. You definitely broke below it. So, locally, and locally can be used pretty broadly, I feel like. Is it locally on the daily or locally on the 1 hour? Regardless, you broke that low. Probably stopped a lot of people out, right? Maybe some people got long in this area here or here, and they thought this would be a great place to put your stop loss. And they came down and they grabbed it. And maybe that's all this was, Markets are big now. You have institutional players liquidating people in positions, and, your market maker, like all that stuff is a big deal now. When Bitcoin was around in 2014, I don't know if that was really as big of a deal, right? And so maybe we're setting up to go lower here. So we start projecting, and it's a projection. And I mean, that has, about where everybody was talking here. That says about 41,500. You hear a lot of talk of 55,000. And of course, it just goes down from there, 55,000 to 50,000, 45,000, 40. Somebody said that actually liquidating Michael Saylor, some of his positions could possibly happen around 30. I don't believe that to be true, the way that they have all that debt structured and stuff, and then I read other stuff that said, that's not really true, and that Michael Saylor has a lot of options that they could use if they were to start getting low down into those low regions, and I would not be surprised if they start buying some more. I think they're playing the long game, and they're just going to keep buying and managing debt and buying and managing debt, right? So anyways, that's just kind of what I'm looking at on the daily. I'm projecting it. In no way, shape, or form could the projection happen. For anybody who doesn't understand what projecting is and how it works, is you try to put price action into the projected patterns that you're looking for. And as the price action fills out, it rather fits beautifully into what you projected, and then at some point you take the trade based off of what you would normally take the trade off of, or it doesn't, and you reassess the situation and you come up with a different trade if you're a trader. And by the way, I'm only going to do this for today. This is not a technical analysis channel. I'm not trying to teach you technical analysis. This is about raising your crypto IQ. That's what we're really here for. All right, let me bounce us back to where we were, and let's see if there's anything else left here for some news. Bitcoin is hovering near its 200-week averages. Derivatives stress is cooling after the last week of liquidation flush. There you go. They flushed a lot of liquidation. So there's not as much stress, I guess, on price action or liquidity to go any which way to liquidate people. Hyperliquid is getting a major credibility boost. I thought this was interesting, right? It's a very strong narrative today. The Centrini Research, the firm that helped spark February's AI stock scare, called Hyperliquid and the Hype token a compelling idea. Now, is this a good thing? It's funny. A lot of these things get framed as a good thing, and then they end up being very negative in the market. I don't know. Is there correlation, or is it just bad timing? I don't know. The main reason Hyperliquid actually generates real fees and has token buyback mechanism. Reporters from CoinDesk, Hyperliquid has generated about $1 billion in annualized fees, with more than 90% of fees directed into a buyback fund that has purchased over $2 billion of Hype since January 2025. Now, is that why Hype keeps doing so well? Because they actually took 90% of fees and put it back into the ecosystem. Good tokenomics, right? Is that why? Or is it because of that people are speculating on it and they're getting in and they're buying? Maybe people who are outside of your normal crypto purchasers. This matters because Hype is being discussed differently than most crypto tokens. I think it's a good argument here. The argument is not just number go up. The argument is revenue, volume, fees, and buybacks. Tokenomic type stuff. U.S. crypto perpetual futures are becoming a bigger narrative. Hyperliquid's story also connects the broader perpetual narrative, right? So Zcash rebounds after the Ironwood upgrade proposal. So this is worth noting because a lot of people were asking a lot of questions about Zcash and, of course, everything that happened with it. I don't think we have to hash out what happened to it. I think most of you guys know what happened to Zcash, right? So it dropped hard last week, right? Shielded Labs apparently was the one who disclosed a critical bug. I was not aware of that. I don't hold or own. Try to combine those words. I don't hold or own any Zcash, so I read some things about it, but I wasn't super into every nitty gritty detail about what happened to Zcash. Anybody who's been here in crypto, you guys realize how much stuff goes on a daily basis? It's almost like some people think I have nothing else to do on a daily basis but sit and research crypto. That is not exactly how the bills get paid. Allowed unlimited counterfeit tokens, so a big deal, right? Before it was patched, and who knows if anybody did it or did everybody do it? I don't know. Zcash is private. The uncomfortable issue was that it was not possible using cryptography, to fully prove whether the bug had been exploited. So this is a really interesting narrative here, where it's because it's a privacy token, we don't have as much access to prove whether it had really been exploited, which is going to make a lot of people highly uncomfortable. Now, why was the exploit there in the first place? Was it a mistake, or did a developer or somebody leave it there, knowing the nature of the project, knowing because it's private that nobody could really catch him? And has he been buying and dumping and doing all kinds of stuff? I have no idea. But it's definitely really interesting to think about. Now Zcash has rebounded after funder. And I know something else I really wanted to say here. This is a very interesting topic because this is very much the push and pull of not just centralized and decentralized, but transparent and non-transparent, right? Certain applications we think it's great, and everybody was very bullish with Zcash and Monero and things at different points because of its privacy. But here we're in a narrative. Anybody find this interesting? Anybody understand what I'm really trying to say here? Now we're in a narrative where Zcash's privacy is actually kind of the problem with all of this. And confidence can't really be restored for the people who hold Zcash because it's private. Somebody will understand what I'm trying to say here. Now, Zcash has rebounded after founder Zuko Wilcox unveiled the proposed Ironwood upgrade. The goal is to help users verify that circulating supply. is correct and restore confidence in the privacy coin scarcity. So hopefully they do have some breakthrough about that, right? And it's really about privacy versus audibility. That's really interesting. I didn't know that that was there. Bitmine buys 214 million worth of ETH. So Bitmine, Tommy Lee, he's kind of like the Michael Saylor of Ethereum. I'm sure you guys are well aware of that. And let's see, he bought 126,000, almost 127,000 of ETH. And that cost him 214 million. I mean, ETH is low right now, so it's probably going to look like a genius move 10 years from now. Treasury now holds about 5.5 million Ethereum. Man, I wish I had 5.5 million Ethereum. That is just crazy. Worth around 9.3 billion. And they're probably going to make gobs of money when we finally get a bull run. With around 85% staked through its Made in America validator network, which is pretty cool. I like that. Congress is taking up crypto tax rules this week. And we're going to hold off on that. Again, I feel like we're going a little redundant on the news here. What do we want to take a look at? Let's go back to CoinGecko. I think this could be, a good little segue because we just want to break up some of the information here. This is a heavily educational channel for education, right? So sometimes we just got to break that up a little bit so that people don't get too zoned out here, get too burnt out. A lot of times they have these kind of like trending categories, which I think is interesting to look at a lot of the time. Let's see. Can we get more specific though? Yeah, we can literally go to trending categories. So here are your trending categories. You have modular blockchain, privacy blockchain, Binance Alpha Spotlight, which is not a real like metric, but I guess it is. It's something that people heavily look for. It seems like a lot of coins are going or trying to go away from privacy. I remember when Monero was the only privacy coin around. Yeah, and it kind of ebbs and flows, Melissa. I think it's a good point that you're bringing up here because it ebbs and flows. It's like sometimes the market heavily favors all the privacy when certain economic and news things go in one direction. But then it turns around and almost like now when you're having kind of like a FUD story against Zcash, I don't know all the details. We're assuming everything we're being told is on the up and up, that this exploit did exist, that they did find it, that it needed to be patched because it actually existed. And then we're assuming what? We're assuming nobody took advantage of it. We just don't know. We don't know who took advantage of it, right? Is it some crazy code that only AI could figure out? And so a normal person would have never figured it out? Or was it, put there by a developer so that he could exploit it later, knowing the nature? But either way, like we said, it kind of comes back to put a negative light on privacy. So yeah, it's interesting how it ebbs and flows, and people are bullish on it and then kind of bearish on it, bullish on it, kind of bearish on it, right? Before, we were bearish on it because of regulation, because the regulator was so unknown. Are they going to try to crack down on it? You saw things like Tornado Cash being made like quote unquote illegal, I don't actually know what they do to people if you try to use it, because I've never even, I wouldn't even know what to do with it. But anyways, the point is people were very feeling that kind of way about privacy coins. Now we have a new narrative for why we should be negative against privacy coins. So you have Binance Alpha Spotlight and YZI Lab portfolio. These two I feel like really go hand in hand. Then we have IP memes, airdrop token by NFT project. If anybody doesn't understand what's going on, we have gone to the trending category. So like we look at trending coins, we also look at trending categories. What is this? DRC20. Well, this is quite interesting. So is a DRC20, is that Dogecoin? Or is that something different? Let's look at their kind of flagship token here. 6.6 trillion, a meme coin. Nothing all that insane. No contract address, it looks like, which is very interesting here. This is Doggy, kind of like a play off of Dogecoin. And I mean, it's up, not on the max chart. What is it up, like on the daily or something? So it's in the last 24 hours. It's up 178%. No idea why. Super tiny market cap. Doesn't take a lot of money. But it's really interesting because it's a DRC20. And because of the logo and stuff, I'm pretty sure DRC20s are Dogecoin tokens, right? Is that correct? Anybody want to tell me if I'm right? Because, of course, you have BRC20s. You have KRC20s, which is like Caspa. Of course, ERC, right? Ethereum. Very interesting. All right, let's finish out some of the notes that we have for the night. Just wanted to break it up a little bit because we have been going very heavy on the education. And I don't know. People don't want to see the education. Or they're mad at me because I use ChatGPT. Like I said, I'm going to have fun with this for a long time. But I won't bring it up every day. This is a special occasion for a special person. Account abstraction makes wallets programmable. The easiest way to explain account abstraction is this. Now I'm back and I'm locking in to this information. You guys can learn or you can not learn. That's kind of how much you guys lock in. So the easiest way to explain account abstraction is this. Instead of your wallet being just a key that signs transaction, your wallet becomes a smart account with rules. Very different, right? Sounds like an upgrade to me. It can decide who can sign, what type of signature is accepted, whether gas can be sponsored, whether multiple actions can be bundled, whether spending limits apply, whether recovery rules exist, and whether certain actions need extra approval. ERC 4337, which is a proposal that passed, is a major Ethereum standard for account abstraction. It introduces user operation objects. Now, we talked about move and move language being heavy on objects. Probably lost on most people, but I don't know anything about this stuff. I just read what it says on ChatGPT. You know what I'm saying? Bundlers, paymasters, and entry point contract. So smart contract accounts can operate without changing Ethereum's core consensus rules. It's very interesting. I'm actually going to read it again because I feel like it's probably a little bit lost on people here. So this is a proposal around account abstractions, right? And what did that proposal do? It set a standard. Obviously, it's past being a proposal because it passed, right? It introduced user operation objects, right? Bundlers, paymasters, and entry point contracts. So smart contract accounts can operate without changing Ethereum's core consensus rules. This was a way to bring this stuff in without changing the core operating system. When you see consensus, think operating system. For all intent purposes, we could argue some small details about some of the stuff, but for all intent purposes, you see the word consensus, just think operating system, the way that a blockchain operates, right? User facing translations. So the wallet becomes smarter. That's the overall take here. It also becomes a lot easier for people to use. Think about this. If the wallet is smarter, more capable, then the person using it doesn't have to be as smart or capable. That'll bring more people into crypto, or blockchain technology is really a better way to say it, because people who don't understand it as much, I'm not going to call them dumb because they're just less educated in a very specific, narrow field, and that doesn't make you dumb. That just makes you unaware of something, right? And so people who are more unaware of something in crypto blockchain technology just find it harder to use. So if the wallet becomes smarter, the app feels simpler. I really hope that hit home because that was a really good point that goes with everything that we're talking about here. Gas sponsorships could change crypto onboarding. Gas fees are one of the weirdest things for a new user, right? I mean, just calling them fees to a normal person who hasn't really interacted with blockchain technology, I think is probably the easiest. Just tell them it's a fee. They understand what a fee is. They get charged fees all over the place. They get charged taxes when they buy groceries, right? Most places in America, well, everywhere in America, but most places have some kind of fees in their normal social lives. So imagine downloading a normal app and being told, you can only use this app or you can use this app, but first you need to buy a separate token to pay for every action. That is not normal consumer behavior, but that is crypto behavior. And again, it's because of the decentralization or the decentralized nature. In a centralized system, right, there's a business model. I think this is good to know. In a centralized system, there's a business model, right? And the fee of transactions and things is covered, or you're not told about. Have you ever gone somewhere and you wanted to buy something and say it was like less than $3-4, and say you were at like a convenience store, a really small shop, something like that, and they said, yeah, you can use your card, but just so you know, like, I'm going to charge you like a $3 fee. So your $3 candy bar is actually going to cost you $6. And like, I just need to make sure you know this before you do the transaction. Why is that? Because there's a fee. Who's charging the fee? The credit card issue, or it's the payment rails that you're using, because you might not be using a credit card, you might be using a debit card, but you get my point. You're using a card. Those payment rails are set by banks and things like that, and there's a fee associated with it. I used to be in a marketing group where the head guy of the marketing group, that's what he sold. He was with a company that he was very tied in, had very, very low contract fees for swiping cards and stuff, and he would go to different companies and he'd bring what they were paying on the back end down. So what my point is, in a centralized business, they're paying for those fees. It's worked into the price. They already know that they're going to have to pay fees on those transactions, and it's part of the price. Maybe it's why things are so expensive and we as normal consumers don't understand why. But when you decentralize things, well, that fee still needs to be paid. It's just a different reason, right? Because I think this is really good. Again, like, who's paying those fees? It's consumers. Say you're using a credit card or a debit card or any of those payment rails, right? Well, there needs to be money to go on to keep those rails operating, right? All the nodes, all the different computers and servers and things that need to go on. A lot of money to AWS, Amazon Web Service, to keep that stuff working when you go to swipe your card. If it doesn't work, it's of no use. Well, here we have a different model where we still have the fee, but the fee is being paid out to the people keeping the system up. And that's mining, right? I would say it's Bitcoin mining, but it's just mining in general. I got off on a little bit of a tangent there. But again, I just read from ChatGPT. I don't know anything about this stuff. Account abstraction can help solve this through paymasters. So ERC 4337 documents describe paymasters. So this is paymasters is something that was implemented from this proposal that got passed, right? And it set up all these rails. Just want to break it down. As an optional contracts that can sponsor gas. Now this is really interesting. Can sponsor gas under programmable conditions. And Coinbase's developer docs describe smart contracts as supporting optional paymasters for gasless UX. I almost feel like these notes and stuff are a little bit complex for one whole stream, but I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna reach here. I think you guys can follow with me. So this means an app, so this is the line that you really need to hear, right? This means an app could pay the gas fees for the user. So this is basically this is the real complex, detailed explanation. The easy explanation for this ERC 4337 paymaster, right, optional is that the app itself could pay for the gas for the users. Because it's a business model. If they pay for the gas, more people use it, and they sell an ad, or they have a different model for generating revenue that's going to cover all of those gas fees, and it makes it insignificant to the company. Or it could let users pay with a token they already have. I love this one. This is one of my favorite. You know how many times you get in this loop when you're bridging and you're moving across different ecosystems? Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. But you get in this loop where the token that you need to have, like, you just set up a new wallet, you get over there, and you don't send the native token. Like, you send like USDT. But you can't move that USDT anywhere because you need the native token. Had this recently with Starknet, which I thought overall was a great experience using their ecosystem, but it was a user flaw, right? If I could have just paid using a little bit of USDT that I already had, the whole thing would have gone a lot smoother. It would have saved me several transactions, right? All right. Or sponsor the first few transactions during onboarding. So maybe you just get onboarded and your first 5 transactions are free. The whole point is using these paymasters and things in these programmable conditions. The app or the wallet or the company behind the technology, they can set programmable rules, and they could do all 3 of these, 2 of them, 1 of them, none of them, something totally different. Like, they can really have some control over how they do the onboarding process. I know this is a little bit techie. I appreciate you posting the links, Melissa. I do have to wonder, Melissa, if him talking about us or talking about me very specifically, just trying to, shove affiliate links down your throat. I wonder if he's talking about the links that you post. I don't know if a lot of people know. I appreciate everything Melissa does, and she's a great mod. But I never one time, I don't believe so, have I ever asked her to post these links. She does that on her own behalf, and I appreciate it greatly. But I wonder if that's what he's talking about. And I'm just here shilling affiliate links. Normally, I would give it a lot less time and energy on the stream, but he's somebody who's been around in the community and stuff like that. So it's just really sad to see him take these weird angles, like he's a trading genius, and I don't know. I'm not paying enough attention to him or something. I don't know what the jazz is there. Transaction batching makes crypto feel less ridiculous. So one of the worst parts of crypto UX is needing multiple transactions for one simple outcome, right? You approve, you sign, you wait, you swap, you sign again, you stake, you confirm, you pay gas again. To a crypto native, this is completely normal. To everyone else, it feels a little bit broken, right? Roll it all up, have it figured out, do one thing, know you're going to need to do multiple things up front, and then just charge me all of it up front and then do it, right? That would be a great example of abstraction. Said probably, I don't care, I'll stop if you want me to. No, Melissa, not at all. Not at all. Especially as we grow, I really need you to post those links, right? Because posting the link to the Discord, right? People can get to the Discord. You post the link to my Twitter. People can follow me on Twitter. That's a positive. And also, highly normal for any YouTube channel, and especially any mod on a YouTube channel to do that. So that's why I was just really crazy that he's you're just trying to shill everybody your week's affiliate. Bro, I don't think I've made a penny through anybody clicking on a link for weeks. I really don't. I could be wrong. But as far as I know, and I never have checked it, I don't even know where I would go to check it. As far as I know, I have never made a penny from anybody using my week's link. Just to be as transparent as I absolutely possibly can. It's nothing. It's something I've never actually gone and looked at. Smart accounts. Let's get back to the topic here, right? So to everybody else, it feels really broken that you have to do this kind of sign and then you wait and then you swap and you sign again. And there's multiple transactions going on, but it's supposed to be one transaction. But the way that the blockchain works, consensus, the operating system, if you will, it could be a little different per chain, but a lot of times you have multiple things going on just to do one transaction because it needs to go to multiple places and pay fees in multiple places. But people using the wallet or something, they don't understand any of that stuff, right? So smart accounts can batch multiple actions into one user operation. Coinbase developer Docs describes smart accounts as enabling developers to execute multiple calls in a single user operation. Now, for most streams and most of the things that we go over, I like to come back and say, hey, this is why I think this information is useful and how I think you could maybe apply this information to navigating the market, new tokens, new integration, because sometimes it's not a new token. Sometimes it's a project that you're familiar with integrating new stuff. If you see certain products that most people already like, upgrading their UX, upgrading their account abstraction, wallet abstraction, whatever app abstraction, whatever word you want to put in front of abstraction, but they're upgrading their abstraction. Just know that is probably going to onboard more people. And notice that where is most of these things coming from? They're coming from Coinbase, which is a layer 2 on Ethereum. Ethereum being the most widely developed and used blockchain on the planet. I don't know who would argue with that. Maybe somebody would argue with that, right? But this is really great because Coinbase has been operating a forward-facing public application, and they understand meticulously how important it is that when people use it, they have a good experience. Them coming into crypto and bringing this ideology, building a layer 2 so it can function better, and putting in proposals, you see what I mean, and really building something is probably what's going to bring in a lot of users when the time is right, when the market turns around and people run back to crypto and they find it suddenly much easier than it used to be. They won't really understand, and most of them won't even notice. They'll just be doing stuff, and this is really funny about a lot of this stuff, is people will run back to crypto who've maybe been here briefly before in bullish times, and they'll think, wow, this stuff is so easy. I don't even understand why I thought it was difficult. They won't even understand that anything has ever changed because they only show up at the top of the bull market. Okay, this matters because users do not overthink transactions. Users think in outcomes. They do not want to approve 5 blockchain steps. They want to click once and have things happen like a normal app that they would be used to. That is the difference between crypto feeling like infrastructure and crypto feeling like an application. And we just keep going with that, raising that crypto IQ. So, passkeys and recovery could reduce seed phrase anxiety. And now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because it's mostly all my hardcore undergrounders who are still here with me at this point, trying to raise that crypto IQ. Have I not always said that this channel was built around all the research and things that I normally was doing for myself in the privacy of my own home by myself? And I wanted community, people to share what I was finding with, and then, of course, community to bounce other ideas and other things that people are good at, and TA could be one of those. And, to those people who are in the community who are good at TA, you're welcome here. We love that you do TA. But just because you're good at TA and good at something and it's been successful for you, not really a reason to attack other people. That's not good vibes. And we've seen it in the Discord before where people get like this and then start turning around and attacking everybody who doesn't agree with their opinion, everybody who doesn't see eye to eye to them. Anybody remember this scenario that I'm talking about here? Because that's kind of what this is turning into, is what it seems like to me. It's another person who came in, thought that they were all knowledgeable, and then when other people didn't just do their song and dance and tell them how great they were and put them on a pedestal, then all of a sudden they go rogue and they want to start attacking people. It's a pattern, guys. Pay attention because it'll probably happen again and again and again, because I'm not going anywhere. Passkeys and recovery could reduce seed phase anxiety. And why was I saying that? Because I'll sit here and do this research even if nobody's here. All right, this is to hold me accountable, and I love people, and I love having a community. Yeah, Melissa says yes. I'm pretty sure she's talking about what I was saying. It's always been super upfront and clear. It's almost like, tell me you don't really watch the channel very often at all. And matter of fact, now that I connect the name, because I don't think about it, when I connect the username with the username in the Discord, it's like that person barely ever comments anything here, telling me that they barely ever come to the actual live stream. They just hang out in the Discord. And we're gonna get back on topic here, right? I just wanted to take a little break for a half a second to kind of break up some of this technology. So let's recap. We're talking about user abstraction, right? And what it could do for onboarding people into crypto. Also, the power of what it does in the feel of using any kind of product, right? If anybody uses Coinbase, and I'm assuming a lot of you use Coinbase at some point, right? You can't say that it's not super easy and not something that you would fall back on or use all the time if other things were more difficult or if other things were not available. So passkeys in recovery could reduce seed phrase anxiety. Probably a highly debatable topic here, right? Because, of course, everybody would kind of like to have passkeys in recovery, but if we build too much passkeys in recovery, well, then it might hurt confidence that somebody can't get in and steal your wallet. That would be a problem. So seed phrases are one of the biggest onboarding barriers in crypto. And it is kind of one of those things, seed phrases are what they are. There's value in what they are. But of course, it's going to cause some anxiety. That's obvious. So for serious self-custody, they matter, right? But for mainstream users, they feel intimidating. And that's why, this is my personal opinion, right? I'd kind of like to see hardcore seed phrases like we know them stay. And then if I want to put money somewhere and I want to be able to have recovery and all that stuff and those peace of mind, then I'll use something. But in a way, we kind of already have that. Like, if you really are worried about seed phrase and stuff, just use a centralized exchange. And if you want real, true self-custody, then learn how to keep a seed phrase. I don't know. Here's a good tip, too, that I think is really good for anybody, right? You start a wallet, say, and this is for somebody maybe who has a lot of money. Now, what is a lot of money? It matters totally. It could be $1,000 for somebody. It could be 10 upwards of any number past that. It could be $100 for somebody. It could be a lot of money, more than they're actually able to take as a loss comfortably. How about that? And then so you start a new wallet, and the wallet gives you a seed phrase. You could put $1 or $2 in it, or you could just not put any money in it. I like to put $1 or $2 into the wallet so that when I restore the seed phrase, I can see that it's the right thing. It's exactly the wallet that I was just in, right? And so put $1 or $2 in it, or don't put anything. Go, refresh it, however, go out of it, right? Shut it down, restart your computer if it's an extension in Chrome. When you restart your computer and stuff, you'll have to log back in. And instead of logging in, click the seed phrase, restore, and restore your seed phrase and put your whole seed phrase, even though it's a brand new wallet, and you just put it in. And if it works, then you know that you have the proper seed phrase. And I swear, one of the only times I never did that was literally with the Starknet wallet. And that's the only wallet I've ever had any problem with. Again, I still don't know if it was me or the actual plugin for Chrome. Anyways, I'm off on another tangent. So seed phrases are one of the biggest onboarding barriers in crypto. For serious self-custody, they matter. For mainstream users, they feel intimidating. A seed phrase basically tells the user, if you mess this up, you may lose everything forever. That is a lot of pressure. Smart wallets open the door to a different ownership and authentication model. Coinbase smart wallet codes describe support for multiple owners, KeyPass. So basically what they're saying is the smart wallets would support all of these different things like multiple owners, passkey owners, and Ethereum address owners. This matters because passkey feels closer to normal modern internet behavior. That's the takeaway here. If you don't understand everything that's being said, understand that passkey is just a mechanism that feels much more modern internet behavior, feels more normal. Users are already ready to Face ID, or already understand Face ID, Touch ID, device authentication, and account recovery. That does not mean passkey eliminates every risk, though, but it can make onboarding feel less terrifying. Anybody tapped out here? Anybody feel like this is too much information in one sitting? We are rolling into 2 hours of streaming. Do we play a DeFi game real quick? Is that okay? Does this ruin the channel for you? Who's still here with me? Go ahead and throw something in the chat. Let me know that you're still hanging out here. I never know if I can really trust the metrics that I'm being given. Sometimes they seem highly inaccurate. Blues guy, are you still here with me? You fall asleep, brother. I know Melissa's here. Said, sure, let's do it. I know Melissa doesn't hate the DeFi games. Can never get enough wood on this game. Anybody else tried this game, or is it just me and Reliable Jay? And shout out to Chris Goss. I know he's not here right now, but I appreciate him having my back in the chat for sure. Not that to be honest, I appreciate it. Doesn't really matter. I feel no need to defend myself. You know, unless somebody thinks I did something wrong, then we could debate that. But I do find it highly comical. Get all the crops. I really got to branch out of what I'm doing here and move into something else. And again, for anybody who's like, why would you ever play this game? I don't know. Some of the items in here are worth a lot of money. Look at this item. It's worth $1,200. Now, what you got to do to get... Oh, these are whale traders. Sorry, I'm in the wrong spot again. I did this the other day. I got to find... Trending... Oh, no. These are the right things. A four-man beaver, a golden sheep. They're worth decent money in here. And what I find really interesting is if you go into this, it even tells you when people are buying stuff. It tells you when people reach high levels and stuff. It also will tell you when people, yeah, look here, purchase emerald turtle. I don't know how much this is worth, but probably several $100s. So it has real in-game mechanics. I don't know, people hate that. Here's a golden sheep that was purchased 5 days ago. That's 11,500 flour. Let's go back if we can see how much money that is. So 11,500 right here is $819 right now. So somebody's spending $819. If you were to just so happen to get one of these golden sheep, I have no idea what you have to do to get one, and you were to sell it, it could be worth like $800. That could pay a large chunk of somebody's rent. If you got one of these four-man beavers, $1,200. Can you imagine, for whatever reason, you get one of these things? I don't know how it happens. I don't know if it comes from a chest, if you have to get a bunch of materials and make them. I don't really know. But can you imagine you make one of these things and you pay your rent with it? And then people will sit here and be like, oh, you play a DeFi game, it's so stupid. I think that those days will come quicker than people know, and we're far ahead of it. I don't think anybody will ever give us any credit, don't get me wrong. But I do think that we're far ahead of that curve, right? And I'm just trying to break up, you know, what we've been going over tonight. I want people to be able to retain it. I don't know if they will retain it. You know, it would be a really good test would be to do this at like the very beginning of the stream, right? Hit that chainers real quick. Just things that I always mess with. Get a little bit of free BNB. I don't think a little bit of free crypto ever hurt anybody. I feel, this is my personal opinion, I feel like it's not a big deal because I don't spend a lot of time on this. I spend maybe, if you play the game, the one game that I play, maybe I spend 3-4 minutes on it. If you don't play the free game for a free item, you spend considerably less. You maybe spend what? Ooh, I want to combine those. Probably spend like a minute on this game, like a day, maybe 2 if you come in twice a day, which I don't. Here we are. Oh, we don't have enough. All right, I thought that might be a problem. Let's place them back down. Now that I have all these animals and stuff, which I think they gave me as like an anniversary thing that they're doing. They gave a bunch of these animals. I did not have a peacock or this other pig or this chinchilla or this goat. I didn't have any of those things. The goat eats, or the chinchilla eats sheep food. Of course, the pig eats pig food. That's not a surprise to anybody. But the goat eats cow food, and I don't have any cow food. I don't know why that popped up. I did not click that. Feed all the farm animals. But what's the whole point of it? Well, you're going to take all the items that you got, right? And you're going to sell them. It does say on chain, so like I'm pretty sure that these are like NFTs and stuff, but I don't know about that. But anyways, you go to BNB, hit all. You'll see your estimated reward. Again, just random items that I got in the game. And you get some BNB and you just keep stacking it. You got an in-game currency. You could do it in Polmatic. I don't think Polmatic is as strong of a coin, right, for me to be concerned about. And stacking some BNB now. Hey, if BNB triples and quadruples, then maybe my value in here will also. All right, so that's already done. And we've gotten so far 0.003 BNB. And we're going to try to shave another 0 off. It's going to be pretty cool when we get to like a 0.0 or a 0.1 or 0.01 BNB. And full disclosure, all I ever spent on this is $10. That was not what I was trying to do. All right, let's go back. Trying to collect these daily rewards. What is this? And I don't know. I find some of this stuff interesting. A lot of times you gamble on stuff, right? And it's rather going to go somewhere one day and maybe you get some kind of value for being early, or it doesn't go anywhere and there is no value, and that's the gamble that you take. A watermelon seed. I don't think I had one of those yet. I don't know. There's something to it. You hear the lifer talk about it a lot, too. It's like there's something to being on the internet and being in front of everybody, you know? And then people want to... Again, I've heard lifer talk about, what? That counted? I didn't even get to play. All right. Well, that's fine. I honestly didn't feel like playing it. But anyways, you get to be on the internet and people get to judge you and throw whatever shade they want at you. But, like, they're not on the internet. You don't get to go watch their channel, you know? So it's like all of this hoopla about like all of this nonsense. They got it all figured out. They know everything about everything, right? But then like, where are they? I don't see any videos that they make. I don't see any information. The thing is that you get to sit back and throw stones, but you don't ever have to have any accountability, right? We don't ever get to see what calls you made that were terrible. We don't ever get to see your TA. And I could just be totally ignorant because I don't hang out in Bankroll tab 24/7. But I hear him talk about certain things, but I don't really see a lot of charts. Maybe he doesn't do a lot of charting. I don't know. But either way, the point is, it's easy to throw stones at people on the internet when you don't have any presence really on the internet that anybody else can judge you off of. I'd like to watch some of his YouTube channels. Nothing to report here. I'm not paying for the next upgrade anytime soon here. Probably should at least get to level 30. At some point, it's just like, how far are you going to take this, right? How many coins are we got here? We have 1.4 million tokens, and then we have a couple more on the side, which are like 200,000 tokens. I don't know, call it 1.5 million tokens. Let's see, there is an exchange for this. Where is it? Trying to remember what it was called. It starts with a V, though. Here it is. I don't even want to sign in. I just want to grab the token, which is fish, and it's probably not worth anything. This thing was all an experiment back when Fogo had came out, right? And Fogo's idea with some wallet integration and stuff, it was a cool idea. Keeping you logged in so you don't have to constantly pay fees. That was kind of cool. There we go. We got 15,000. There we go. 1.5 million. It's worth like $5. I keep getting way more, and it keeps being worth way less. Kind of funny. But of course, in this market, why would a random token like fish be worth anything? That's a good question. Now, for me personally, I'm going to finish these notes because I like this topic. That's why I picked it. Maybe it's a little bit over people's heads. Maybe we should go back to simpler topics. So developers benefit from users stop getting stuck, right? So developers benefit because users stop getting stuck. Because who gets blamed when the wallet doesn't have good onboarding? Probably the people who developed it, right? So account abstraction is not only good for users, it's good for developers. Developers want people to actually use their app. Shocker, I know. Everybody is floored right now. Pick your jaws up off the floor. Developers actually want people to use their apps. But if users get stuck before they even begin, the app loses them. Smart wallets can help developers, right? Something I really wanted to say, but I'll hold off because I'll finish this real quick. Sponsor first transaction, right? Simplify onboarding. Bundle complication actions, reduce failed user flows, support safer recovery, create smoother app experience, and abstract way gas friction. So, all right, I was going to hold that thought till the end. That means developers can build apps and feel more like normal products. This is critical because mainstream users do not care that your protocol is decentralized if the app feels impossible. The whole being super into the decentralization part of it is like a Bitcoin ethos, blockchain ethos from the beginning type stuff. And not everybody really shared that rallying point all the way fast forwarded in 2025, 2026. People don't always necessarily echo that like they used to in the beginning days of blockchain. Melissa says okay. Okay, I'm not sure what you said okay for, but thanks for being here. Abstraction can hide friction, but it can also hide risk. So here we go. We got to stay balanced. And this is what I was hoping we'd get to with everybody, but a lot of people bailed, which is cool. We have to stay balanced. Making crypto easier is good, but hiding complexity also creates new risk. If users do not understand what is happening, they may trust apps too much. Gas sponsorships can depend on paymasters, so that gives a lot of power there to the paymasters, right? If you know the family name, I'm not even going to go there. Bundlers and relayers can become important infrastructure choke points. Smart wallet contracts can have bugs, right? We know that. Recovery systems can create new attack surfaces. Obviously, if you can, this is what I was pointing out was pretty obvious. If you have a recovery system, it can be exploited. So that recovery system better be really good. So the goal is not to make crypto invisible in a careless way. The goal is to remove unnecessary friction while preserving transparency, security, and user control. That's a design challenge. We talk about the trilemma. The crypto trilemma, the obvious one that a lot of people talk about. This is like there's like mini trilemmas or just mini problems, right, that come about. And this is kind of one of them. You have transparency, security, and user control or user experience. And those three have to be balanced. Crypto needs to become easier without becoming deceptive. The bigger question is, should users have to understand crypto to use crypto? I don't know. How does anybody feel about that? Should you have to understand crypto to use crypto? I think a lot of the people who have been here who understand it are like, yes, because it's amazing. But if you're new, you're like, well, that's a lot of information. I just want to buy this meme coin, or I just want to put this money in this vault and get 5% yield on it or whatever. I don't want to understand how blockchain technology works. I feel like we have to have both. I think it's good to change the interface, the UX, if you will, so that people can have the abstraction in it and just be easy. And then those people who really love crypto, want to raise their crypto IQ, can come learn about the stuff, and then we can have like the best of both worlds, right? Most people do not understand how payment networks work, and they still tap a card. That's what I was talking about earlier, is that like we have traditional payment rails that cost fees, and people use them every day, and they don't know how any of it works. Somehow it's different though when you talk about crypto. Most people do not understand email protocols, but they still send emails. And think about how long emails have been out. If most people still don't understand an email protocol today, then they're probably never going to. Most people do not understand cloud servers, but they still use apps. Maybe crypto adoption works the same way, and I would say most likely. Maybe normal users do not need to understand wallets, chains, bridges, and signatures at deep levels before they can use crypto-powered apps. I think that would limit a lot of people. It's a little redundant. Maybe the new applications where useful parts of crypto are there, but the painful parts are hidden. That is why this week is called Crypto's Invisible Upgrade. So we're going to be talking a lot about what you don't see. The future may belong to crypto infrastructure users. Never have to think about, right? The crypto may belong to crypto infrastructure users never have to think about. When you put a comma there, it kind of completely changes it, right? And of course, the core insight, the big takeaway, crypto adoption may not come from making users smarter about wallets. Crypto education might not be how we get more people on board. It may come from making wallets smarter for users. And I like it. I like the stream. I had a good time. I don't think if there was any other really big news. Sam Bankman-Fried officially asked Trump for a pardon. That would be big. Anybody else feel like that would be really big in probably a very negative way? I don't know why he would pardon him. He's a criminal. Like he's straight up. I don't think there's a lot of confusion around what he did, right? What some might call plausible deniability. I don't think he has a lot of plausible deniability. So Aave faces questions after an 8.4 billion run. Yeah. I mean, have you ever heard of bank run? I guess this is the Aave run. 8.4 billion deposit run on Aave within 48 hours. Aave survived only after roughly 300 million emergency bailout, including 2,500 ETH from the Aave DAO and 5,000 ETH from founder, that guy. Which, not a good look for Aave, right? Aave V4 is being framed as a risk management overhaul. So they're doing something about it, but it's going to take them a long time to come back, right? Heavy blockchain news. Usually we do not have this many relevant things, right? MiCA compliance costs are becoming a Europe Web3 debate. So this has to do with Europe. If you don't live in Europe, you're not going to care about it. Bybit launches tokenized IPO access starting with SpaceX. So they're getting in on it. Bybit is like, hey, if we're going to do any of this, we should do it with SpaceX. It's probably going to be a good move. Pump.fun, go. Controversy shows the darker side of meme coin incentives. Oh, man. I don't even want to get into that one. And we'll kind of leave it there. Appreciate all my undergrounders. Thank you for coming. Oh, now Move is actually up 32%. So Move moved. It's funny that we were just talking about it the other day. But hey, raise that crypto IQ, think long term. Stay underground, stay crypto. I'm going to go ahead and hop off, and I will catch you guys in tomorrow's episode. Shout out to anybody who stayed with me through the whole stream. I know it was a little heavy. I'm going to try to lighten it up a little bit for tomorrow's stream. because I don't know. I feel like we're not there yet, but we'll keep chipping away at it. Sometimes it's hard not to get into the nitty gritty detail for me personally, because I've been through a lot of the generalized stuff and into the niche stuff. So sometimes I want to get into the deeper stuff, but I guess I got to remember this is crypto education. Maybe not everybody is going to be able to hold out and hold in the conversation that long. But hey, that's the goal. You got to set a lofty goal and see if you can make it happen. See if in 2 years from now we have a community of people who thinks chain abstraction is amazing. Now, we did do some interesting things today, for anybody who doesn't know. And I'm mostly, I guess, telling Melissa, is that we switched the category for the channel from entertainment to education. It's going to take 4, 5, 6, 10 streams to get, YouTube to understand what's going on. Also, I'm waiting on YouTube to fix the pause on the monetization on the channel. Very annoying. It's funny. When it rains, it pours. Melissa, I know you know what I'm talking about. Like, I was dealing with that today. It was very frustrating. The lack of reply and a lack of it, and trying to correspond with anybody from YouTube. And then I hop on and I got somebody who's from the community trying to just be, crappy. And it's just like, come on, man. It's already been a crappy day. Why you got to do that? Anyways, stay upbeat, stay positive, stay underground, stay crypto, think long term, and I will catch you in the next show. Stay blessed. Crypto Ron out.